a little bit, but I want you to just take a few minutes. I know it sounds hokey. I want you to just go into this moment with me and write down what kind of car or room your business is and describe it, and I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Okay, first of all, let me ask you, what kind of business do you have?
I have a wellness studio.
A wellness studio. And what's your first name?
Rena.
Rena has a wellness studio. So what is a wellness studio? What does that mean?
Well, I chose room. I chose a family room.
A family room.
A family room with no electronics.
Oh, no electronics. It's already wellness.
Yep, community tables, lots of comfortable seating, big cushy pillows all around. And one of the most important features of my room is large sliding glass doors that open up on all sides.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you can be one with nature and
anybody's welcome in. And,
nice.
Community center.
So very comforting, very welcoming. Textures are soft. You can see the outdoors. No electronics is pretty good. I like that one. Anyone else want to share? Come on. Joy, you share.
So I work for the city's small business program, and it's a welcoming dining room so that small business owners can get fed. There's a variety of dishes for you to consume, and we have windows there so that you can visualize your success.
Oh, nice. Windows making another appearance. I love that. I love that. And that actually really well describes your organization. I think you're starting to understand it. Did anyone do a car? You did a car?
I didn't do a car, we're an airplane.
Oh, an airplane. Always thinking out of the box. What kind of airplane?
A jet,
A jet.
high, big capacity.
High capacity jet. Lots of us can be on the jet.
Yes. We're also, since no one else has said it, and most people here are members, we're a kitchen
With a kitchen.
and a commercial stove with giant restaurant.
So it's a restaurant on a jet.
No, the kitchen's not on the jet. The kitchen cooks everything up with all these wonderful people.
All right.
Then we get on the jet and we make it happen.
I like that.
I made a light for the audience.
Oh, that's a good idea.
We had a request that they couldn't hear in the back.
Oh, no. Okay.
Okay, who's next?
Can we have Rebecca say hers again? Because that was the one that triggered they couldn't hear.
Okay.
Thank you.
Because I'm AIBA and y'all are all familiar with us, I want y'all to know that first we're a kitchen with a big commercial stove and giant commercial pots, which actually is real, I do that. But, and so that we, in the kitchen, we just cook up all these amazing things with our wonderful members. But our vehicle is not a car, it's a jet. So
It's a
after we do
jet.
that, we get all the cook-up stuff from the kitchen, we get in the jet and we take off.
I love that. Does anyone in the back want to share? Just one more or two more? Plus, we're giving her a little aerobic workout this morning. Hi.
Hi,
Good to
I'm
see you
Keith
again.
Miller with Authorized Credit Card Systems, and my room is actually the garage.
All right. This is good. Tell
Kind
me
of
why.
A big space with lots of stuff, mainly tools for solving all kinds of problems. I have my
Perfect.
tools in the house to fix all kinds of issues and broken things, so it's kind of replicates that.
I'm going to ask you a couple of questions
Sure.
about it. Is it disorganized or organized?
As
fair
I put down,
question.
organized chaos. It's organized for me, but probably not for anyone else to.
You are among friends, aren't you? Because no one else would have said that if they don't know other people in this room. That's honest, though. I like it. Are there things on the walls? Is it utilitarian, or is it more like fun and
Not
each
no,
going?
no, organized drawers, boxes, slots for the right tool, for the right job.
Cool.
So when I need something, I have it.
Is your actual garage like that?
50%, I would say. The 50% I control.
I wasn't going to be able to call you on it if you lied. It
No,
would
the 50% I control.
Okay. Oh. All right. Someone's under that bus. That's okay. Who else wants to share? We had a couple back there. Thank you for running that microphone.
So we have a music company. Our car is really cool.
That counts. That's good.
Cool. It's fast, efficient, looks good, and plays lots of music. Lots of people benefit from riding in our car, which makes it even more fulfilling. it's constantly getting upgrades and we're always traveling.
Perfect, perfect. I keep noticing that you guys are taking into account other people, and I'm assuming it's because it's your business and you're taking care of your clients or your customers. I love that. Is there one more back there that wanted to go? Did you do a room or a car?
I did a room.
What room?
And, I chose a kitchen. I'm Kevin with Austin Slowburn, and I chose the kitchen because that's what I do. My kitchen would be decorated with chili peppers, all kinds, all fresh ingredients. Food just brings about friendship and party, and it's just a fun business to be in.
I love that. That's a perfect one. Slow burn. That sounds good. I want you to take just a couple of minutes and tell the people just at your table what your room is, because not everybody shared, and the purpose of this is for you to talk to each other, get a better idea of each other.
Oh, okay.
Just to tell each other their room. It's really hard to get started. Deacon Justin is trying. I love your room always doesn't ask me. You're always going to ask me. Like you're not sitting around actually telling each other. I love your people.
Okay. I love this group. I've asked many rooms of people to do this exercise, and you guys sound the most engaged. You sound the most like a 7th grade cafeteria. It was perfect. I'm so happy, and I will give you a chance to finish that conversation. I hate to cut you off. But I wanted you to start talking to each other instead of just listening to me. So what is it all for, really? And I think you're hearing reflected in the descriptions that you gave each other some of what it's all for. Like in the wellness center, it's welcoming. It's making a place for people that's comfortable, a place to join together. At Slow Burn, it sounds delicious and fresh, and like love goes into everything. Am I right? That's right. So that's about your business, but it reveals a little bit about who you are, not just to the other people around you, but hopefully gave you some insight into your own purpose for what you're doing. And then it really starts to beg the question, what's it all for in the greater picture, in the scheme of things? Why are we doing what we do? This is not going to be a giant kumbaya hour, I promise. I just want to start there. We'll probably end up there, but now we're going to talk about your business because I know that's why you're here. So growth for your business comes from 3 things. It comes from a lot of things, but really they fall into 3 buckets. Real marketing, we'll talk about what that means. Sales, most importantly, repeat sales. And strong relationships, which come from real marketing and repeat sales. Real relationships begin to generate all of that together. So real marketing, what does that mean? Any of you have ever been to my class know that I'm going to tell you the definition of marketing, because I want us all to be on the same page. It is not because I don't think you know what marketing is. I know that you know. And if I gave you a piece of paper and said, write down your definition of marketing, you would all pretty much write about the same thing. But just to make sure we're all on the same page, I'm going to give you my definition. It has 3 steps, and then from there, we'll move on to sales and repeat sales. If you are not measuring, you are not marketing, okay? If you are trying to sell things, that can be done through marketing, but then you enter into a phase of sales. Marketing is about reaching out to people, pulling a response from them, and measuring the response so that you know what worked and what didn't. And when it doesn't work, meaning they don't buy from you, that's not a failure. It's great data. It's great, very low-cost data in today's marketing world. So the 3 steps of marketing, in my definition, are number 1, define an audience. So you decide on a group of people that you are trying to reach out to in order to pull a response from them. It might be that you're going to reach to teachers today, or you're going to reach to everyone in 78734 zip code, or you're going to reach to everyone that you met today at this event. But you define an audience. That may be something as general as all of my customers. You know, you don't have to peel back all of the onion layers and go really deep. You can just define a group of people. Number 2, reach out to those people with an offer or information that is specifically for those people. So you're not sending it to the world, you're making it available to those people that were in number 1, okay? And then number 3 is you elicit a physical and measurable response. So you pull back a yes or a no. You get them to make an appointment with you. You get them to buy something or to show up at an event, right? And when I say physical, I mean physical like a person takes physical action. They make a decision and take an action. And that it is measurable, it's what's making it marketing, okay? Because number 1, defining your audience, and number 2, reaching out to that audience, that is communications. It's not marketing until you add physical and measurable response. But that doesn't, it sounds complicated, but it doesn't have to be. Email marketing is marketing because you can see who opened it, what they clicked on, how many times they clicked on it, did they forward it. Posting something on Facebook is marketing. You can see how many likes you got, you can see how many shares you got. You can use other tools to measure how many of those people came to your website and ended up booking a ticket or setting an appointment or buying something from you. So real marketing doesn't have to be expensive and it doesn't have to be complicated, but it has to be measured or it is not marketing, okay? Now, if you are not measuring your current marketing efforts, don't kick yourself. It doesn't mean you're breaking something. You're communicating, that's good. But if you want to actually start to drive sales and increase those sales and drive repeat sales, you need to start marketing because that's where true growth comes from, is measured marketing. Real marketing removes assumption and emotion from the decisions that you make about what you're going to do with that time, okay? Because you're no longer saying, I think people are going to love this article that I wrote, or I think people are going to love this special offer. Instead, you're saying, I know they're going to love it because the last time I did it this way, everybody responded this way. And you start to say, this works, do more of that. This does not work, stop doing that. Very easy, removes emotion, removes assumption. And again, you can't fail at real marketing because a no is not a failure, it's more good information. Sales and repeat sales bring you growth, obviously. Generally, you need to market to get sales, but repeat sales are the golden goose of small business or local business. Repeat sales is where your real profitability starts to drive because you're no longer having to spend the time or the money or the energy to bring in that new customer. And they're not saying, who are you? What do you do? It's more like, what else can you do for me? How many people can I tell about you because it's been such a great experience, right? So repeat sales, on average, the average consumer in America will spend 67% more repeat business than they do on your first time. Is that true for your business? If it's not, you should go back and reevaluate your customer experience. Maybe send in a secret shopper. It's a good idea. Doesn't have to cost anything, send in your cousin, they won't know. And relationships, I like this picture because I get to say cats and dogs living together. They drive the sales, the repeat sales, and the marketing creates the relationships. We've all grown up hearing, it's who you know, not what you know. Sometimes we hear it and it pisses us off. right? Like when you lose a deal to someone because they knew the person. So start showing up. Showing up is a huge piece of the battle, huge. Knowing people, caring about them, actually having a human relationship is so valuable. And you don't have to have thousands of them, but when you do have thousands of people on your list that you're email marketing to, or they're following you on Facebook, or the dreaded Twitter, then you can actually engage on a one-to-many level, meaning one person can engage those people, and it can still be authentic and drive a true relationship. There are many people that I've got real relationships with that I've never met because they live across the world, but they're on Twitter or they're on Facebook, but we've had genuine human interaction using a screen and the internet. It absolutely is possible. Your relationships will define the speed of your growth. Your marketing will actually create the growth that will generate the sales and the repeat sales, okay? So look at these buckets. Your local network, which you all obviously have a good, strong local network, you're part of the AIBA. This is generally how we spend our time and our money and our energy. Not everyone, but a lot of us are spending a little tiny bit of time, money, and energy on those 3 or 4 people that are our biggest fans, because we already have them, and we're thinking more in terms of the big bucket toward me, the strangers and the prospects, because we're spending a lot of time and money and energy reaching out to strangers. Do you feel like you're doing that? Because you're prospecting. I'm not telling you not to do that, but you're trying to fill the funnel with new people, right? So when you're trying to fill the funnel, it can get expensive, and it takes a lot of time and a lot of energy. Sometimes a lot of money. If you were to buy a Super Bowl commercial, that's reaching a lot of people. But the prospect of spending that money is significant. And if you can do it, the prospect of keeping the new people that you've got from that reach is really expensive, because there are so many big companies that have huge pockets that can continue to fill their funnel and pull people out of your funnel because they'll keep posting the commercial while you had your one big pop on the Super Bowl, right? When you're prospecting, it's expensive, and I'm not at all advocating a stoppage to your prospecting, but I am advocating a switch in the paradigm. And to start, at least, not cold turkey, but a little bit, start to spend more time and money and energy on those 3 or 4 or 5 people who are your best customers. And the reason for that is those relationships, if they're nurtured authentically, and I do mean that, truly authentically, not for sole purposes of growing your business, but actually serving them and giving them the kind of quality service and experience they deserve as your best customer, they will bring you more customers. Think right now of your best customer. Hopefully you have at least one, a person that you're thinking of. As you think of that person, did you think of that person as their company name buying from you, or as a person buying from you? It should be a person. Otherwise they're not your best customer yet. It's a person. And those people tend to become your friends. And if you were out with that person or at an event like this and someone that you didn't know walked up and you introduced them, you would not introduce them as my best customer or this is Joe from the coffee shop. You'd say, this is my friend Joe, right? You introduce people that you have relationships with, and the authenticity of those relationships translates into that conversation and then leads to a self-perpetuating growth mechanism that starts to bring more customers, and it's very natural. It doesn't have to cost a lot. It doesn't have to take a lot of time. If you will just start to pay attention to those 5 or 6, see how I just gave you 5 or 6 instead of 1 or 2, 5 or 6 best customers, they will turn that into 10 best customers. And then later, 20 best customers, because you're spending the time on them that they deserve. Yes, sir?
And I've always come to realize that about 20% of your customers, clients, will account for about 80% of your business.
That's absolutely right.
And what we started doing was we would send out birthday cards to everybody. But instead of sending out birthday cards to everybody, we started sending out a birthday letter and a special book or something to our top 20%.
Ooh, I like that.
And then it just started to where they felt more love and began referrals, repeat business, etc.
I'm going to tell them what you just said because I don't think people know back, but thank you for letting me have a glass of water too. What he said is, What he said is in his business, they've realized that the 20% of customers are the biggest part, 80% of the business. So they send all customers a birthday card, but for that 20%, they send something special for their birthday. That's all I'm talking about. Acknowledge that they're special. It doesn't mean you have to go have lunch with each of them, although you could have an annual luncheon with your top customers and have a special VIP luncheon for your best customers and let them meet each other and help them mingle and network. It's not something where I'm asking you to switch everything around. I'm just asking you to start thinking about who's in that little tiny bucket of people that could be growing your business faster than all the other people on your list. Because think about it this way, if you needed to sell $10,000 today, by end of business today, would you call 20 strangers or 2 of your best customers? I would be calling 2 of my best customers because they're the most likely opportunity to turn that sale fast. Now, when we're talking about marketing and relationships and managing those relationships, we're talking about tools like your website and email marketing and social media and even a CRM system, a customer relationship management system. Those are tools and they're important, but it's also important to be a human, right? It's important that when you're using those kinds of tools, you come off as an actual person, not just a business creating an email trying to get you to buy something. So put some friendliness in it or some humanness in whatever you're doing, posting on Facebook or sending out emails. In all of it, try to write it from first person so that it comes off as a person, not like a brochure. Okay? And that doesn't mean that you abandon your corporate image. If you have a more formal image or brand, then write in a formal tone. Take the tone that you would take in a business meeting, but still be human. Find a way to make it personal. Less is more. I think we can all agree. I can prove it to you right now. Does anyone in this room want a long email from anyone else in this room? I've asked that question of so many people. I've only had one person raise his hand, but he was lying. He preferred joking, but he was lying. You don't want a long email from me. We get long emails. You don't have to. You could truncate things and link to them. Sometimes you have to get long emails, but those are more utilitarian messages and communications. When you're marketing to someone or you're nurturing a relationship, think about your relationship and think about the last time you opened your email on your inbox and somebody had sent you something that required a lot of scrolling and that sound that you make, and then don't make other people make that sound, is what I'm asking you to do. I think that's important. It's part of the relationship. I think that's a good barrier to set. I almost just fell off the stage, P.S. You have to remember that most of your marketing, whether it's your best customer or someone who just signed up on your website, is getting that marketing on a cell phone. At this point, it's pushing 80% of your marketing messages are being read or accessed on a cell phone. So here's some things you can do to make that easier or better or more engaging. Don't use any marketing that is multiple columns, meaning, you know how a newsletter, when we think of a newsletter on paper, it has 3 columns and it looks kind of like a magazine. Don't do that. Now that everybody's email and social media is on their phone, think in single columns. Build one column, and people don't mind scrolling as much anymore. If you've got a nice, beautiful picture, they're still willing to scroll now because it's just their thumb moving. They don't seem to mind. Make sure that your pictures are not giant. And if you're going to send emails, try to send them through any service that offers, they'll say mobile friendly, but you want mobile responsive if you can get it. Mobile responsive is different from mobile friendly. Mobile friendly means it'll work, you're good. And that's fine if that's what you're using, it's not gonna hurt you. But if you can get a system that says mobile responsive, then it's going to take your message and make sure it looks good no matter what kind of cell phone or tablet or computer the reader is looking at it on. So it will change the way it looks. That is also true for your website. Your website, if at all possible, should be mobile responsive. Most systems now offer that. Again, if you just finished your website and it's mobile friendly but not mobile responsive, don't have a stroke. It's okay, and it's going to work. Do not concentrate all your time and your money and your energy on creating content. If you have a great content person, please do not go disrupt them and tell them that I said to stop writing. That's not what I mean. But don't spend all your company's time and money and energy and resources trying to write new articles every couple of days when there's so many other people writing articles that are good and valuable and could be shared and given credit where credit is due, and you become the hub of the information instead of the creator of the information. And that gives you a lot more time to nurture the relationship while your competitor is still writing articles. There's no reason for you to do that. As long as you are confident about the source, you believe in it, and you credit it, and you're not charging for access to it, you can use other people's information. If you start to charge for access to it, now you're in copyright law, and I'm not a lawyer and I can't advise you, but don't do it. I would just stay clear of that. Don't charge for access to it, but you can share anyone's article and give them credit for it, and become the hub of that information. In fact, I have one friend who left Constant Contact, we worked together there, and she used to, well, I used to also spend hours every week trying to keep up with the different changes in social media, like you, except I had to teach it, so that was special. And so hours spending trying to figure out, Facebook changed this, so now it's this size. And Twitter changed this, so now I gotta teach it this way. Now I gotta change all the slides, and we started working together trying to keep up with the changes. And it became so crazy that she left Constant Contact, figured out how to track those changes, created a weekly email that tells you all the changes, and now charges $500 for the subscription, and marketers are eating it up. She's making a killing because she became the hub of the content instead of the creator of the content. There's a lot of opportunity in just sharing reliable, reputable information and being the source. Reuse and repurpose everything. Now, I like this sculpture because he's clearly, well, except for the gun, he's clearly a good use of things. I tell myself it's a water gun, but you don't have to use new things all the time. You can take one article and turn it into 20 different posts and emails and opportunities to explain what you do. You can take an article that has 10 tips for cleaning a closet, and that's at least 10 posts, maybe 20 because you want to repeat, and then you use the most engaged one later, as this was the most popular tip from our article on how to clean the closet. And then you post it on different social media sites in different ways. Reuse things. There's no reason to just throw it away just because you posted it once. And find your best customers. If you, when I asked you to picture your best customer, did not picture at least one human, like an actual face of a person, that you know their first name, you might know their spouse's name or their kid's name or their dog's name because you've actually interacted. If you didn't have that experience, go find them. Go look at your data and see who spent the most with you in the last 2 quarters. Go see who your best customer was and send them a note. Not to say, hey, I noticed you spent the most with me last year. That's typically not the best way to start, but to say, we really appreciated your business and here's a birthday card with a nice gift. Or here's some information that I thought might be relevant to you because the last time you downloaded this from our website, this was relevant to you. Go back and nurture that. That doesn't take a special kind of tool. It doesn't matter what kind of hammer you're using, it just matters that you get the nail in, right? It doesn't matter if you email it to them or post it to them or snail mail it to them or walk up to them at an event. But if you actually engage as a person, you will have a better chance of bringing them back in and keeping them in the fold. And have you thought about scaling your business? Scaling meaning the same amount of work, lots more money coming in. Scaling meaning you do it once and 40 people buy it instead of you do it once and one person buys it, and then once and then one person buys it. I'll give you an example of that just to put it in context. Let's say you're an artist. I have a good friend who's an artist, and he is a sculptor. He does a lot of woodworking, but he makes beautiful woodworking sculpture for the walls. And he gets paid a lot to build these sculptures, but once he finishes it, that's it. It's a one-time buyer, right? My husband took some pictures of one of his sculptures, and someone saw it and was like, I want the picture, I can't afford the sculpture. And he started selling the pictures of the sculptures. He makes more on the pictures of the sculptures now than he does on the sculpture, because he can sell those much faster to more people, and it takes no time. It's automated, it's sitting on his website. That's scaling a business. That's the same amount of work, more money coming in from the same piece. Have you thought about ways to do this for your business? Let's talk about it. So who's scaling their business? Who's found a way to scale their business? Uh-oh. How much time do I have? I'm just kidding. Who wants to scale their business? Who's having trouble? In the white. What kind of business are you in? Real estate. And what's your first name? Hi, Jody. Are you residential business, real estate, or commercial real estate? Ooh, residential and commercial. Okay. So you can only sell so many houses or buildings. Is that true?
Right.
Right.
Developers who want to use me for everything.
Developers meaning builders? Is that what you mean? I'm just making sure we're talking the same language. So you want builders to find you and realize they could be using you over and over again because you get their language, you understand them? Oh, okay. Then if you find a builder, is that going to scale your business because he's going to bring you 5 houses at once? Is that what you mean? Okay, that's a great option. It's still going to require you to be at the closing for all 5 houses, right? Or is it one closing, 5 houses? Ooh, that's scaling. If it's one closing, 5 houses, that's scaling. If it's 5 closings, 5 houses, it's great for business, and I love it for you, but it's not scaling because it's more work for more stuff, which I'm sure you're happy to do, but but specific to scaling, there are other ways. I've seen one realtor who created she created basically an online blog about activities happening in a community, and then she sold advertising to her favorite inspectors and plumbers and all that, so that the people in the neighborhood start seeing them more often. She doesn't charge for it, she gives it to the whole neighborhood, but she has a side revenue from the different service providers that she has a relationship with. That's more along what I meant, where you don't have to actually show up, but it brings in more money. What else are you hoping to scale with them?
Well, that's something to think about. I do a blog that I don't have.
Oh, so you already do the work, so we just scaled you right there. Just add some ads. Can I ask you what service you use for your website? Like, I'll just be able to tell you if they do ads for you. That's a normal answer. You're a normal person. They all feel better knowing that you have someone do it. It's probably most likely a service that already has something you can turn on and will turn on ads for you. So something to consider just to scale. Who else wants to talk about scaling for theirs? Is anybody here charging hourly for their work and concerned that there are no more hours in the day that they could possibly book so you're at max? Is that you? Did I describe you? Are you an accountant? What do you do?
Hi, I'm Tyra.
Hi.
I own Mantis Massage, and we can only charge, we're hands-on workers.
Yeah, so there's, what are you gonna do, right?
Right.
One of my best friends is a massage therapist. She's like, this is all I can make, I'm done. Because there are this many hours, and you can charge for those hours, right? What about services for other massage therapists? Is that the right thing to call you, a massage therapist?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Meaning education or ideas or marketing ideas that you have that have worked that you can share with others, and they pay for access for that to learn how you've done it.
Well, then am I just creating competition for myself?
No, I mean, that's a really good point, but no, because you would sell it to people not in your general geography. You'd go outside of your geography,
Okay.
in my opinion. Or go to the people that do you work at one place, or is it your own business?
It's my own business.
Congratulations, that's cool. Then I would go outside your geography so that you're not generating competition, but some of your best referral business or major event business, like to go to a convention or a conference and, rake in cash all day, can happen because you've made an alliance with someone who's nearby that you don't see as a competitor, but as a friend that you co-promote each other. Like maybe find someone who specializes in a different kind than you do, and you can co-promote each other.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Let's move on from scaling. We all understand it now. Tools that I love, these are mostly free tools that I'm going to tell you about that changed my life. I hope they change yours. And the point of them is that you can do so much more with them in less time with almost no money or no money. Word Swag. Anyone ever heard of Word Swag? It's an app on your phone. It works on any kind of phone. You can take a picture that you've taken, or you can take from a whole huge catalog of free stock photos that are free because you're using the app. And it drops in words on top of those. You've seen those online where people have a picture and it has that cool text on it. It looks like they paid someone, an advertiser, to do it for them. You can do it in about 12 seconds on WordSwag. And it looks really cool. And I get the most clicks and likes and shares doing those. In fact, I've done a little test with WordSwag on my Instagram. Who's on Instagram? On my Instagram, I get more clicks and likes on quotes on Instagram, which sounds really crazy. I've even tested it by having my 8-year-old come up with amazing quotes, and then we put it into the WordSwag, and it looks very official, and then we send it out, and her last quote was, "My family is the most important and valuable thing in my life," and it got 300 likes. Not because it was my daughter, people didn't know that. It looked cool, and they could share it. So use WordSwag, it saves a lot of time, you look very professional, it's easy to do from anywhere. Canva, Canva.com. Anyone use Canva.com? Do you love it? I love it. Did you love it too? Does anyone not love it? I've never had anyone tell me they don't love it. Canva.com is free, and it also gives you really cool layouts and beautiful text layouts, but it does it for social media, so you can say, I want a Twitter header, or I want an ebook cover, or I want to post a flyer somewhere, and I don't even know how to describe it other than it's zen for design. So you don't have to know what you're doing, you just type it in and it says, do you like this? And you swoon and it's beautiful. And it's free. Evernote. Who's using Evernote? Oh, I love Evernote. Evernote is beautiful. Evernote goes everywhere with me. Evernote is an app that I use on my phone, I use it on my iPad, I use it on my computer. And it's kind of like file storage where I can have folders and projects, but I can invite people to the folders. So if I'm working on a project, I can invite someone specific to that folder so they can see those items. I can give them tasks to do with deadlines. I can store any kind of file on it. It's beautiful. And if I do it on my phone and I get home and I get on my iPad, it's all there. You can scribble on the screen, you can speak into the microphone, you can take a video, you can pull from websites, you can pull everything together to manage projects. I love Evernote, and it is also free. If you need extra storage, it's like $12 a month. But free is fine. Hootsuite, anyone using Hootsuite? Love Hootsuite. It's also free. Hootsuite lets you manage all of your social media from one login so that you never have to actually log in to social media. So if you're one of those people that hates social media, it's perfect. Because you just go in and you can post something and you can schedule out for 10 years on Hootsuite. So you can say, on Wednesday at 3 o'clock, I'm going to tweet this, and it does it for you. You don't have to go in. I'm tweeting right now. Now, I want to talk about this because I bet you guys have some tools that you want to share. Like you're thinking, I bet she doesn't even know about this. So tell me tools that you're using. Do you have tools that you're using that are free or almost free that others should know about? It's not going to create competition. Yeah.
We use Yelp. We don't pay for advertising. We do a Yelp deal, and it probably brings so many new people into our store. It brings so many new people in. And
I love that. Yelp deals. I bet a lot of people don't realize that you can do that. If you go to Yelp, I think it's biz.yelp.com, is that right? biz.yelp.com, and make sure your listing is right, but you can edit your listing and you can add a deal so that you, and it doesn't have to be like a $5 off or a percentage. It can say when you check in, get a high five from the bartender, which is cool. It's kind of lame, but it's cool. It was free, that was a good example. So Yelp is great. Now, I also know that I could feel it in the room when I say Yelp. Do you feel it? Okay. If you go, this is a shameless plug, but if you'll go to theeasymarketingguide.com, Click on my 6th episode. It's with Kelly Stalker, who used to be the Yelp community manager in Austin. She solves all of those problems in 20 minutes of a podcast. I started the podcast feeling the way you do, and now I see Yelp as an alliance for a business. I no longer see it as something that you're fighting. It's a beautiful, I highly recommend you go and look at it. Who else has a tool? Yeah.
There's one called Calendly. If you schedule appointments or have clients, you ever been through that? Hey, when are you available? When am I available? Try to coordinate. Calendly gives them access to your calendar. They can't see anything except when you're available, and they can schedule their own appointments.
So what's it, can you spell the name of it?
Calendly.
That's it.
Calendly. Also changed my life. I should have it on the screen. So if you want to accept appointments, you just make time available on your calendar, and people click your calendar and take the appointment, and it notifies you. And you eliminate that back and forth. You know, that back and forth of, I can talk to you at 2:30, well, I can talk to you at 1. Well, I can't do that. Just say, go to my Calendly and figure it out. And they click it, and it's done. That was a good one. Anyone else have one they want to share? Yes, sir.
Well, mine's probably going to be,
It's working.
It's good. We can hear you.
mine's a little more hands-on, because the best way I can reach out and grab new customers is to go do a in-store demo.
Oh, that's a great one, though. That's a great suggestion.
I get to meet all my fans that already know me, and I get to find out how many don't even know I exist.
Nice. Very nice.
Once they tasted my product, I've got a new fan.
If you can get them to taste it, right?
Yes.
That's beautiful. I love that suggestion. And that usually costs nothing except for whatever product you're bringing, right? And your time.
Just product and time.
Great suggestion. I love it. Anyone else got one? Something that doesn't cost a lot, that helps you do more in less time? All right, you'll loosen up. We'll talk more. It'll be fine. All right. Has anyone done anything with nonprofits? Meaning partnering with a nonprofit, mostly because you believe in that nonprofit, but also because it makes good PR on the side. So your primary purpose is to help the nonprofit, obviously, but it doesn't hurt your business to be helping a nonprofit. This is something that doesn't cost a lot. I'm going to advocate for it for your soul points more than for your bottom line, because I've done it and it really feels good. And if you do it with your staff, it really feels good, and your staff feels like they're part of something that matters, which hopefully they feel like anyway. But when you give them an activity or a goal or something to do together that actually helps the community, it gives them rah-rah points. Do you know what I mean? They can say, my employer is so awesome. We just went and set up a whole garden for this community, or whatever you're going to do. So it's something to consider, because while it might cost you a little bit of time or energy and maybe even a little money, it feels really good, and if your staff feels really good, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing but good going to come from that. And if a nonprofit happens to get help from it, I'm a huge proponent of that. If you are looking for nonprofits to help, I would go to Giving City or to I Live Here, I Give Here. Any other suggestions are open? Yes, sir.
I choose nonprofits that my customers are involved with. For instance, I sell to many dentists, and they have associations, and they'll have their events where they're doing donated dental work. Well, I supply the water.
Oh, that's great.
It's cheap to do that, just like I'm doing today.
It's good water too. Thank you for the water.
But it's what they care about.
Yes.
And then I have a group of builders. Well, I belong to the Associated Builders. And I do their golf
Perfect.
tournaments or something, but it's groups they care about.
That's a great segue into, it's not about you at that point. If it's about the relationship, it's really more about what do your customers, your clients, your partners need, and how can you provide that. And if it happens to help your business, which it will, great. But the way that it works is if it's authentic, if you actually care. You know that feeling when you walk into a store, any kind of store that has people on commission, and they feel that sense of it's the last day of the month and I'm really not selling anything, so please come buy this from me. You know that feeling. You can say you don't, but you do. And then you walk into another store and people are like, just let us know. And then you're like, oh, can you help me? Because you don't mind, because you're not freaked out. That, you want to avoid the oogies of the push and the pressure, and actually have people that want to help. and feel good about it, which is why we do it in the first place. It's why we do it. So what? Why are we doing this? Why are we building our business? To take care of our families, to take care of our community, to contribute in some way, to make money, obviously, is a huge piece of it. But that's not the whole ball of wax at all. So when you start to bring other things into it, the people around you, your customers and your partners and your employees or your staff or your team, they feel it, they feel a part of something, and you start to see growth that comes from the inside. And not just financial growth, that comes too, but it comes when people feel like they're a part of something, then they want to bring others along. They want to be a part of something that feels good. Hope is not a strategy for your marketing. I'm sorry, I love that picture. And luck is actually a myth. Think about someone that you think of as lucky. Do you know someone that's lucky? My husband is often accused of being lucky. His sisters, he has 4 older sisters, and they got really mad at him for getting a special nap mat in kindergarten. And my husband is 50, and his sisters still bitch about that nap mat. Still. Luck is a myth. In fact, there is, it's actually a science. There's a doctor named Richard Wiseman, which I thought was a great name for him, who studied luck. He took thousands of people who are considered to be lucky. Either they think they're lucky or others have said this person's very lucky, and he studied their actions and their mindset and what they do. And there are 4 things that lucky people, lucky air quotes, people do. They create and notice opportunities. They make good decisions. They're listening to their intuition. They create self-fulfilling prophecies by setting positive expectations, and they adopt a resilient attitude, transforming bad luck into good luck. Those were bullet points that I just read to you, but I'll give you some examples of real life. And by the way, I've given the link to his report so you can read the scientific study on it. But let's look at some evidence of luck not necessarily being luck. Think about the person that you know of who's lucky. I'm going to bet that that person has been through something difficult. Either they've lost someone close to them, they've had a major illness, they've had a massive setback in life. Something has happened that they had to overcome. Almost all the time, people that you think of as lucky have had something they've had to overcome. And it's the overcoming of it that gives them this mindset that makes them appear lucky to you. For example, when I was born, I could not open my eyes. My eyelid muscles do not work, and I had to have surgeries when I was little to open my eyes. My eyes are actually sewn open. Now you're all staring at my eyes. That's okay, I'm used to it. And I sleep with my eyes open, which is super fun for my husband. And it's very unlucky to be born with your eyes not opening, right? But it was very lucky that I had access to the healthcare that I needed to get the surgeries to open my eyes, and I can see you. I can see you fine. In fact, they thought that I had Down syndrome because I was born that long ago that they couldn't tell. And once they opened my eyes, they were like, oh, she doesn't have Down syndrome, and it was a whole different life for me, right? It seemed unlucky, but it turned out to be very, very lucky. When I finished, or actually when I was in 2nd grade, McDonald's near my house in Dallas had a drawing for a 10-speed bike because it was part of their Big Mac Attack campaign. And I saw the sign and I saw these magic words that said, multiple entries allowed. Yeah, I was in 2nd grade. Those words looked bigger than anything on the whole poster. It was big. And I took a handful of the stack of the little things and a little golf pencil and started filling them out at the table. And my grandfather's like, oh, honey, you're not going to win that bicycle. I was like, yes, I am. You just watch. And then I went home with another stack, and my brothers were laughing at me. 5 weeks. Once a week, I was allowed to go to McDonald's after church. Got my stack, went home with the little pencil, little nubby pencil, and filled it out. I probably filled out 1,500 of those things. And it wasn't just an email address back then. That was your name and your phone number and your address and your mom's name and everything. And the day that they called to say that I won the bicycle, my mom hung up on the guy. She thought it was someone playing a prank on me. It's true. I won the bicycle, and everyone at school was like, you're so lucky. I was in the newspaper, it was the whole thing. You're so lucky. My brother had his bike stolen the day before I got my bike, and I had to give the bike to my brother. I know. Unlucky. When I got out of college, I went to UT. In fact, I spent a lot of time in this building, going to UT. And, well, that building, but still. And when I got out of college, by the way, I went to college for opera, lots of jobs in opera, and I couldn't find a job, so I went to work at a macaroni grill as the singing waitress. They used to have those? Yeah, I was walking around real pissed. And I was all, I'm so unlucky, I can't believe I got a degree in music, singing opera, who wants to hear Italian? And then I went to work one night and I sang for a table of extremely inebriated young men. And one of them happened to be a producer. He hired me to sing on something. He's now my husband. We've been married for 25 years. I know, lucky. Lucky. So you don't know who's lucky and who's unlucky. You just don't know. Earlier this year, my dad actually was diagnosed with cancer, unlucky. Came to live with me, lucky. Went through hospice care with my family, extremely challenging. I don't wish it on any of you, but I wouldn't trade it with any of you either. It was the most unlucky, lucky experience ever. And he did pass away, that is sad. I'm sorry to share a sad story, but it was also really beautiful. And my whole family was there, and you can't trade that, and you can't pay for that. So don't think about luck in terms of what all the good things are and all the bad things that are happening. Turn the situation around. And you have an opportunity to make it what you want it to be, to respond the way you want to respond, and that's what it's all about. That's the so what. So what this customer didn't buy it. That's not the right customer for you today. So what your website went down. That's an opportunity to update things. Some might call it Pollyanna. I live with someone who calls it Pollyanna. But then he also comes back by and goes, I mean, it's cool that you're like that. Because it helps him, because he's definitely not Pollyanna. And he's the one they call lucky, with his eyes working and closing at night. It's all your perspective. So don't get overwhelmed by all the work you need to do. Look at all the things you've accomplished and the great people you're working with and the people in this room. The people in this room are a great resource for you. You could probably grow your business by 10% just today by talking to the people in this room and finding opportunities to grow and scale together. So I challenge you to do that. You have a great day together, good food, great coffee. I can only stay a little bit longer, but I'm excited to talk to some of you and I appreciate your time today. Thank you so much.